everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Lead Her podcast. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. I hope you're having a fantastic week. Today, I wanted to roll back time and chat about how I went from having £2 left to my name to starting a business. And there's 3 lessons I want you to take away today, and I want to tell you them now because I'm going to go into a huge story, and it's just off the cuff of like what happened since 2012 to now. Hoping that you can take lots of nuggets away from it, even if you're not looking to build a business. It's still going to be relative to you if you want to change your career. It's still going to be relative to you for so many different aspects. If you want to get better, healthier, build more confidence, it's still going to be relative to you if you want to start a new hobby or finding something that you're passionate about. There's going to be something that you'll take away from this, but there's 3 that I've got that I feel are big takeaways, and it's still things that I live by today. Number 1 is that you're never going to be ready, and you should start before you're ready, because we always want to have like all our ducks in a row and have all the information. We want to have every idea of exactly where we're going, but it's never going to be like that. And that's not where you're going to build and where you're going to grow, is if you're just constantly waiting for everything to be perfect, because you're never going to feel ready. Number 2 is that you need to say yes to all opportunities that come your way. And even sometimes you think something isn't going to work, you just need to give it a go. You just need to kind of like fling yourself in, immerse yourself with people, do overtime, work weekends, work late evenings, early mornings, and do everything you can, because it's going to lead to where you want to be if it's something that you love and it's something that you're passionate about. Number 3, if I can remember, is that the breakthrough always comes after the breakdown. Honestly, I have experienced this so many times when I have had nothing left or I want to give up, and the next day everything completely changes. It's like a 360 in the space of one day, and it always comes after the breakdown. So let me take you back in time, and I feel like there's a lot of this story today, but I think from like looking from the outside in, people forget that I started this 9 years ago now. So it was October 2015 when I officially started my business. And people just think like, okay, you start a business and that's where it succeeds. But actually, from starting my business, there was so much I was doing before I was ready to start that business. There was so much work I had to do, so much focus I had to do. I didn't even know it was going to turn into business. I was just doing the stuff that I loved, that I was passionate about, that I cared about, that I was enjoying. I didn't have a plan. And I think sometimes, like, yes, there is jobs, and yes, there's organizations and there's platforms where it is going to be, okay, this is what you do in the first 3 years. This is what you do in your first year. Then you've got your 3 years, and you've got your 5 years, you've got your 10 years. And that's great. And it's nice having like that bit of structure to kind of go by. But you always know there's going to be buffers, whether you get pregnant and you're on mat leave for a while, and work goes on standby. So it's not always going to be 3, 5, 10 years anyway. Everything's always going to take longer than we think, and if you're really, really good, it might be 3 years rather than the 5. It's never always going to be that set plan, and especially within my industry, I honestly did not have a 10-year plan. I did not have a 5-year plan with this. I didn't even have a first year plan with this. Actually, I lie, I had a 2-year plan. When I started my business, I remember hearing a quote that most businesses fail in their first 2 years. So I actually remember that being in my head, that I was like, if I start this business, I need to get that past that first 2 years and I'm safe. I remember that. So the first 2 years was maybe the first marker, but I never ever thought it would grow in and I'd be here, well, grow into what it is today, and I'd be here 9 years down the line. Like, it's absolutely wild. And that's why I think it's really cool to share this story with you all, and how I just went for it and just didn't have all the answers, and it worked out. So basically, if we do scroll back to 2012, I think Instagram had just started, and I loved Instagram. I'm always that person that takes photos. I love photos, and I love looking back at photos. My camera roll is ridiculous. I know I share a lot in stories and social media, but there's so much I don't share because I just love taking a photo. And I'd started my Instagram then, and it's funny because I was in different relationships then, and I was really unhappy, and I was also like really lost in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I felt like everybody around me knew what they wanted to do, and I felt different. I felt like I didn't want to do thing. I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I felt like I had so much more potential. I felt like I knew I was smart, I knew I worked hard. I'd been working since I was 16. I knew I was someone that wants to give everything their all, no matter whether it's waiting tables or whether it's helping a client. Like, I will give as much as I possibly can because I want to succeed and I want to win. And I just knew I had that passion in me, but I couldn't think of what that job would look like or where that would be. So I was in 2013, I was, so if I look at the photos in 2012, actually, like, I can see how unhappy I was. But like, from the outside in, people would think you're great and it's a great photo and you're happy and you're on holiday. But I was so heartbroken and so hurt. I'd been cheated by a couple of boyfriends that cheated on me. So it felt like I was a problem. And my confidence was really low from comments that were made in a relationship and the lifestyle that I was living. There was a lot of drinking, there was a lot of crap food, I didn't exercise. I was in a pretty shit place. And I can see it in those photos, and you guys probably have photos as well where you look at and you go, oh my God, I was not happy then. And it's amazing to look back in the future and go, she would be so proud of me. Like, that woman sat on the beach, or young woman sat on that beach feeling really low, would be blown away of what we've done and achieved over the last 9 years. So it's really cool looking back at those photos. But I was also the party girl. And I was out a lot partying, drinking, and then you kind of just see this transition, and I don't know where it came from, but I just started sharing what I was doing in the gym. Like, and this is the thing, like I said, like, before I even started the business, I was just talking about what I was doing and talking about something I loved and something I was passionate about. And just genuinely took an interest in it. And I know some people don't want to share their life on social media, but for me, it was almost like a journal. It was almost like I was like almost like documenting what I was learning. And sometimes you learn things by teaching others. So I was almost like learning stuff in the gym, because I'd met Joe, and Joe would show me the workouts in the gym and how to squat and how to deadlift, and that was me sorted. I was loving it. And you can see the real transition on my Instagram, going from like this party chick, crazy, in my head, low, lost, to someone feeling like building our confidence. I could genuinely see this girl confidence growing on the Instagram page by page. And like, Joe showed me that one session and I was honestly hooked. I absolutely loved it. And obviously, I absolutely loved Joe as well, and I got so much trust and comfort in each other. We're so happy, and being in that relationship helps build confidence as well. But for me, the weight training, it was almost like everything else in life sucked. Like, work was shit, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't have a lot of money, and I was really, really struggling. And going to the gym was like a thing that made me feel good again and actually rebuild that confidence, because I was like, no, you are good at stuff. Like, I was lifting the weights were getting heavier, I was getting faster, I was getting fitter. I could feel changes in my body. I was getting endorphins when I was leaving the gym. So I was just like feeling amazing in myself. And that really just came from the gym. And I was just sharing that online, and people were asking me questions, and people couldn't believe that I was going from like this party girl to this like training girl. And a lot of people were really unsure about it because it was 9 years ago and there wasn't a lot of women doing what I was doing. But I knew that it was making me feel so good that if you guys did it too, you were going to feel amazing as well. And it wasn't as scary as the world was making it out to be, and that we didn't need to use the little dumbbells. I was like, people need to know this. Why am I the only person that's in the gym? Like, women need to be doing this. So I was just sharing all of this on Instagram. And at the same time, I was working in a finished uni, so I was still not sure what I wanted to do. And I'd met Joe, and I didn't want to leave him and go to back hometown. So I stayed where Joe was so that I could kind of keep connection with him. So I just kind of stayed working near the uni that I went to. And I ended up, I just was working in a restaurant that I was working at with uni, and I just felt a wee bit fed up in the restaurant. I felt like ready for change, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't want to join the police like I originally had thought, because I studied criminology and sociology, and I was like, oh, I could join the police. But I was like, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's what I want to do. So I didn't jump into it. But what I did do was got an opportunity to work in an estate agents. And hated it. At first I was like, oh my God, I've graduated from uni. I've got my first professional job. I'm going to be getting a salary. I've never had a salary in my life. It felt really official. It felt like I was being an adult. It felt like a proper job, 9 to 5. Here's your salary. And in the restaurant, you didn't get that. You just got per hour. And you worked long hours. And now looking back, there were so many pros to being in a restaurant than there was in estate agents. But I started working in this estate agents, and it was good to start with. It was fun, and I was learning lots of stuff. But after like a couple of months, it was such a negative environment, and it wasn't a nice manager that we worked for, and people were getting fired, and that meant I was getting other people's jobs. And at one point, they were trying to give me free people's jobs. I didn't even know what I was doing because I'd only been in the job for a couple of months. It was awful. It was a shit show. So I got my last pay. And when I got that last pay in, I didn't go back. And I know that's a terrible thing to do, but I was miserable. I felt sick every morning. I was waking up. I just did not want to be there. I got that last pay, and I felt really embarrassed because I'd been like, oh, I've got this professional job. I've graduated from uni. All my work's paid off. This is me now. I'm going to be a proper woman, to having to think, I need to go back to being a waitress. And in my head at the time, I felt like waitressing for me was something that you did when you're studying, or it's something that you're doing when you're younger. And I just felt like it was almost taking a step back. And yeah, I was really, really like gutted about that. And I felt a wee bit embarrassed because it felt like my friend was moving away to Australia. Other friends were becoming primary teachers. Other friends were still studying. And it just felt like, here's me working in a restaurant, no clue what she's doing with her life, but she loves to go to the gym. So I felt a wee bit embarrassed about that. But I just, again, like the gym just kept me grounded, and it kept me focused, and it kept me positive when it felt like everything else was gone to shit. But I left the estate agents, and I paid my rent for my house, and I didn't have a lot of money. I was so poor. And I was really struggling to get by. And I remember at one point I had got a job interview, and I had like 1 bar of petrol left in my car, my little Ford Fiesta. It was called the Bogey, my Bogey. It was a proper bogey colour. I think one of my friends nicknamed it the Bogey, and it just stuck. But I literally had 1 bar of petrol, and I had £2 to my name, and I was £2,000 in my overdraft. And I had £2 left of that. And I just remember sat there just feeling like, I don't know what I'm going to do here. I don't know how to look after myself here. I am so fucked, basically. And I was so ready to call my mum and be like, I don't know what to do. I've got no money. Can I borrow money? And until I get a job. And I feel bad doing that because my mum's a single parent, and she's got my little sister to look after, a single parent household. She doesn't have the money to look after me. So yeah, it was a really tough time. And I just remember the next day, literally having that £2 in my bank. And the next day I got a job trial, and I knew I was going to get it because I'm so good at waitressing. Like I'm so good. Like I am an amazing waitress. Even to this day, I can sit in a restaurant and I can't relax because I'm like, that table's not being cleaned, the chef bell's going off, no one's back getting us drinks. Like, why is everything taking so long? Like, I'm very, very critical when I'm in a restaurant. I'm terrible. Yeah, I just was like, I'm definitely going to get this job. I need to get this job. I need the money. And I went along, I did a 2-hour trial, and straight away they were like, yep, we want to have you, we'd love to have you. And I had a shift the day after. And literally the shift I did the next day, it was a morning shift, and I loved it. And now looking back, although I was so embarrassed about going back to waitressing is so me compared to an estate agent. Yes, I could maybe do good in an estate agent, but the environment I was in, it was so negative and so draining, and so scary and very like serious. And it was almost like you were working overtime, you weren't getting paid. And yeah, there was landlords that were everybody was unhappy. Whereas in a restaurant, like, if all my friends say to me, you're such a mum, and I don't notice it in myself at all until I've heard a few of them say it, and they've gave me like ideas of like what it looks like, and I'm like, oh my god, that is me. I am such a mum. And maybe it's a negative quality that I'm maybe over caring, But I just love people to be happy. I love people to be comfortable. I want everyone to make sure they've got a drink. I want everyone to make sure they're having a nice time. And if they've hurt themselves, I'm going to be there to help them. So yeah, like if I think of me waitressing, I'm getting loads of steps in, I'm being around a lot of people, I'm smiling all day, I'm serving all day, I'm working hourly, I can go home and I don't need to take work home with me. I could literally work a 12-hour shift and go straight to the gym, and I was in my ideal world. But on this first shift, from me having that last bar and that £2, on this first shift, I came home with £30 tips. And I'd never got tips in other jobs before. All the tips just went straight out and it got served between everybody. Because I was the only person working that day, I got £30 tips. And for me, that was the breakdown to the breakthrough. Literally got the job, got that £30, and it paid my petrol for another week or till my next shift. And I started just earning so much money in tips and my hourly rate than I was getting in that professional salary job. And it just shows that even though that's what we feel we should do, we actually might be happier doing something else. I was honestly so buzzing and so happy, and just starting to like have some cash again felt so nice and felt more relaxed. And then I was still sharing what I was doing on Instagram along the way, and how I'd be working shifts, and how when I was doing those shifts, how I would still eat and look after myself, and I would still go after a 12-hour shift and go and train. It wasn't like I would just go home and sit and do nothing. I was like doing everything, because going to the gym made me feel so amazing. And I started doing a bodybuilding competition with Joe, and was sharing that information as well. And then I started getting people questioning me. And I remember that first person that messaged me, one of my friends messaged me, and she's like, Leanne, I want to learn what you're doing. Like, I want to lift weights too. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. That's so good. You totally should. And she's like, would you coach me? And I was like, I can't. Like, I'm not qualified. Like, I can't coach you. And I just remember speaking to Joe about it, and he's like, you could be a coach if you want to be a coach. Because he was working in Stirling Uni through his football at Stirling Uni, got injured, so he had loads of positions in the gym there and weight training there, and working at the pool there. So he was like really in with a lot of the Stirling Uni gym instructors courses. So he's like, you could totally do it. So I was like, okay. So I saved all my waitress money up to pay towards my course. All my tips that I was making was going straight towards my course, because back then a gym instructor course was probably like £500 or something like that. 400, 500, maybe £300, but to me then that was a lot of money, and I was like, oh my god, this is a lot of money for a course. And I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be a coach. Like, do I want to spend that money? But I was like, yeah, fine. It's tip money, so it's actually free money. So we'll do the course, because you love training anyway, and you're going to learn something from it anyhow. So I started the course and absolutely loved it. It was amazing. And I think nowadays you can literally become a PT in a week. But for me, it was like you had to do a gym instructor course, which was like 4 weeks or maybe 8 weeks. And it was amazing. And I actually noticed on the course, I knew so much more than I realised. Yeah, I was really passionate about it and really excited by it. And I was doing my waitressing at the side, but I was bollocks. Like, I was so tired, because I'd be working all my shifts, and then through the days off, I was like in the gym on the course all weekend. And I wasn't getting any rest. It was constant go, go, go. But because I was loving it and immersing myself in it, and again, I didn't have kids, that it was like I had time to do it, and I wanted to do it, and I knew I had to put the groundwork in to get to where I wanted to be. So I did the gym course, and then I had to save up again to do the PT course. And it was really frustrating, because I felt like people on Instagram were still messaging me, asking me questions, and I was like, I can't PT yet, I'm not ready, I've not got the qualification. But I was just sharing stuff on Instagram, like tips and things that help me get to where I want to be, exercises you can do, how to do exercises. I was doing 20-minute HIIT workouts on YouTube. I was doing all sorts of stuff just because I loved it and wanted to help people. And I ended up managed to save up some tips, because I think the gym instructor course was like maybe 700-800, and it was a lot more money. And again, it was really scary, but I was just like, nah, it's again, I've saved up this tip money, I've been really quiet. I've not been out partying. I've been really reserved. That I'm going to put this money towards the PT course. And again, that was another like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12-week course. So again, I had to work in the restaurant. I was still doing my training and I was doing the coursework. And like I was driving from Glasgow to Stirling because I wanted to see Joe. And the job was in Stirling as well. So I was traveling an hour every day to work in a restaurant. I could have got a restaurant in Glasgow, but because I wanted to be with Joe and I loved being around him, I was putting in that effort so I could be with him and stay with him as well. So I was working a lot, I was exhausted, and I was also doing a bodybuilding competition at the same time. So it was just insane. But again, I just went with it and just had fun with it, and absolutely loved the course. And then I finally qualified. And I hadn't actually qualified yet, but I knew I was getting my certificates. And when my certificates came through, I could officially coach. And back then, you didn't really have your pure gym, your gym groups, and the budget gyms. You just had like your David Lloyd's, Stirling Uni, the Peak, like independent kind of counsellor gyms. And they're so hard to get a job in them. And I'd applied to so many, and I don't know how it happened, but I think it was one of Joe's clients. Joe had a client called Raymond, and Raymond was opening up a pure gym in Shawlands in Glasgow. And I had just been getting my qualifications, and I was like, I'm going to be qualified PT by then. Like, could I work for you? And he was like, absolutely, would love to have you. You'd be amazing. Because he'd seen all my Instagram, all the stuff I'd been posting, the things I'd been sharing. He was like, we need a woman like that in our gym to help more women get fitter, stronger. So all that like background that I've been doing was social proof that I was really keen and loved what I do, and he could see my message. And that was me just posting all of that without even being ready to start a business. I would just been sharing and doing stuff because I love it, to then being like, okay, like now this is going to be a job. So basically, don't know if it's still the case, but 9 years ago, if you worked in Pure Gym, you didn't get paid. So I wasn't leaving the restaurant into a paid job. I was leaving the restaurant and starting a business that had nothing, like no business at all. And when I think about it now, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did that. Like, I just done it. But again, I was in a fortunate position where I was back staying with my mum. And again, I didn't have children, so I didn't have like loads of rent and stuff like that to pay. So I could take that risk at the time. And I don't know, there's just something in me like, it'll be fine, it'll work. I know I can help people, and I know people need me. I just had like this unbelievable belief that I needed to do this, and I knew it was the right thing, and I knew it was going to work. And I honestly, first day I put on Instagram, because for the year, about a year and a half, it took me maybe 2 years where I started training, a year of training, and then a year of getting courses, that then I said, I am starting a business and this is what I'm going to do. Would you like to work with me? And I was just inundated with people messaging me on Instagram, inundated being like 10 people, right? But when you're like not got a business and you've got 10 people that want to work with you, it's incredible, it's amazing. I started working in the Pure Gym. You do classes, and in return you get to use the gym. So you're not getting paid, but you get to use the facility, you get to use the gym, you get to meet the members, you get the customers. So basically I went and started working in that gym. Again, it was an hour now to Shawlands, so I was traveling from Stirling to Shawlands every shift, every day, every morning. I remember mornings on Sunday morning, I'd be getting up to go to the gym at 4:30. So I'd get up at 4:30, I'd get ready, I'd leave at 5 because I need to be in the gym for 6. In the gym, on the way to the gym, the music was club music. It was still party music because it was that freaking early in the morning. And at like 10 to 6 in the morning in the pitch dark, because it was October, pitch dark, piss and rain, I'd be walking into a cold ass gym where there would be nobody in there on a Sunday morning. It was horrible. It was not nice. But I knew this is what I needed to do. I had to do it to get to where I want to be. I had to put in that groundwork. I had to do those hours. I had to do those classes. It was brutal. So I had to drive that hour again to the gym, but it was the only gym that I could see myself getting a job in. And with knowing Raymond, it really, really helped. And I absolutely loved it. Like, it was just so nice to actually work with people in person. And because I went to Stirling Uni and because I knew Joe, I then got invited to also work in Stirling Uni. So I was working in Stirling Uni gym, and the gym floor at the weekends. I'd be working through in Glasgow, PTing and working with customers and also doing my classes. It was crazy. And I'm like, I don't know how I did all of it, but I just loved it. And I was just saying yes to every opportunity. So from working in the Stirling Uni gym, I then got offered to coach the ladies hockey team and the ladies rugby team. And they'd never had S&C before, strength and conditioning before. They'd always had field coaching, but they'd never had coaching in the gym before. And I was the first person getting the opportunity to do that, which was so cool. And they're all young women. They were all like 18, 19, 20. I was maybe 25, 26. I felt a bit older than them, but this was what I wanted to do, was show women that they can get really strong, really fit, really healthy, feel more confident in themselves, be stronger at their job, be stronger at their sport. Like, it was the dream. And all these girls would come in, they'd be nervous, they'd be unsure about what they're doing. And by the end of the season, they were like badasses in the gym. And I still keep in touch with all the hockey girls now as well. And I love seeing how much they've grown as women and have now got children and careers. Like, it was such a great opportunity, and actually a lot of them turned into clients in the future as well, which again, I could have said no because I had to travel an hour to Glasgow and I had so much on, but I was just like, yes, 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 trying all these different opportunities. And it's funny how it all just kind of led into still benefiting me right now as a business, from people that still went to Shawlands message me in that gym and say they loved the classes, and I was there 9 years ago. It is wild. And it's funny, so I still get messages from them. I still get messages from the hockey girls and the rugby girls. And the hockey girls also, which was amazing to be a part of, is that they won the championship that year. And I don't know if they said it's because they did their strength training, but they definitely had an amazing coach and an amazing group on the field. But doing their S&C definitely got them stronger on the field and just feeling stronger as women. And they're all still lifting and training today, which is the coolest thing ever. So yeah, like, that's where it all kind of came from. And again, like, just working in the gym and showing women they could train and get strong and build muscle and feel fit and healthy. Women were just attracted to that then, and it was just so great to be able to help people do that, from total newbie beginner to seeing them become total badasses in the gym and build their confidence as well. And it just kind of shows that, like, I had not planned any of this. I didn't know I was going to get the S&C job. I didn't know it, well, the hockey job, the rugby job. I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't know I was going to get a job in that pure gym. And obviously I did other stuff after that and after that, but I would never have learned all these things or done all these things until I just start. So just start before you're ready, because you're going to learn so much along the way. Like, I didn't know how much I knew about weight training until I met someone in the gym that had never been in it before. And I was like, wow, I know so much here. Like, I did not know this was going to turn into a job. And again, like that 2 year, that when someone told me that, like, most businesses fail after 2 years, I was just like, right, we're starting this business. If I can make this last 2 years, I'm going to be okay. And I don't even remember hitting 2 years. I don't. But I remember being past the 2 years and thought, oh shit, I'm actually past that 2 year gap. And I didn't think, okay, 5 years I'm going to be here, 10 years, 9 years I'm going to be here. I couldn't have planned the things that we've done and the way life has gone since the very beginning. And you know what? There's also something else I should add, is that, like, this business in this last 9 years, we have helped thousands of women get fitter, get healthier, get stronger, eat better, move their body, build their confidence. And yeah, if I didn't take the opportunity to start this business and wait till I felt ready, then all those people wouldn't have got my help over those 9 years as well. So sometimes it's good to think, if you don't start this thing that you love and you don't talk about it and you keep it all bubbled up inside, you're not helping so many people. because you could help so many people from them hearing your story, from them hearing your passion, something that you love, or a place that you want to be. There might be a job out there right now who is waiting for someone like you to kind of come along, and because you're holding yourself back because you don't feel ready right now, like you're doing everybody else a disservice by not showing up and just be doing you, and yeah, just trying the thing, and seeing the impact that you could possibly have, and you're disallowing people that right now from you holding yourself back. And that's why I had to just say yes to all these opportunities that just came along the way, and start before I was ready. And like, whether right now, even if you're thinking of starting a new job or starting a new hobby, and just keeping yourself accountable, maybe sharing stuff online, maybe starting your CV, maybe going to a course at night. Like right now I'm learning Portuguese, like, and it's actually been, I didn't think I had the time to do it. I honestly thought when I booked this Portuguese class, it's 4 hours a week, I was like, that's a big commitment. I've got my business, I'm looking after me and Joe. I honestly don't know. And again, I want to enjoy being here. Have I got 4 hours a week to spend in a class? But and it's not just 4 hours in the class, it's the travel time there and back. I was like, oh God, it's a big commitment. And I've done it. And you know what? It's been one of the best things that I've done since coming here. I love it. And I'm meeting new people. And again, right now, like I'm still working on something new right now with Lead Her. We're building a new level. We're building a lifters, I'm thinking of calling it Lead Her Lifters, where it's just weight training, where women can get strong and build that confidence like I did at the very beginning. And it's not ready yet, and I don't know how it's going to go and what it's going to be like, and if people are going to love it or do it, but I just need to start it and work it out along the way, and learn along the way as well. And you never know, these people in classes might end up sharing my stuff, and that brings in new members. I might meet someone at this class that wants help from me. I might meet someone in this class that can help me with my business. I don't know who I'm going to meet at these classes. So I just, sometimes you do have more time than you realize to actually go out and do that course. But actually knowing you're going to do that course because you want to get this next level of work, or you want to learn this thing, is that you're going to meet people that are going to help you. And that's like me with going to Stirling Uni. I went to Stirling Uni Gym, and then from there I got these opportunities because they knew me and they trusted me and they seen me. But if you're just sitting in the house doing an online course, you're not going to maybe meet people as well. So I think it is good to like get yourself out there more and meet more people and do new things. And listen, the whole way, I know this sounds like an amazing dream, an amazing journey. And again, I don't know how I'm here 9 years later, but I've had so many moments where I've been crying and wanting to quit. So many moments. I can't even, I wish I did like record them or write them down, but I have had so many times when I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's not working. It's too hard. Um, I don't enjoy it anymore. I'm fed up, or I'm not good enough. I have had so many moments like that along the way. And that's what I mean about these breakdowns. There's been so many breakdowns. Like the first time I ever taught a class in the gym, a massive breakdown, thought I could never do it, and I did it, and it was the best thing I've ever done, and it built so much confidence in myself. And yeah, like the same with this new lifters program. I don't know how it's going to go. It's like overwhelming trying to build that right now, help our current members, and do my Portuguese class, and learn padel, and look after me and Joe. It's crazy right now, but I'm all in because it's something that I love and something that I believe in, and we'll see how it kind of goes. So sometimes you need to have these breakdowns and know there's going to be a breakthrough with them. Don't give up. Okay, it's so easy to give up when it gets hard, but whenever I feel like giving up, I'm like, give yourself another day, give yourself another week, maybe give yourself a little break, give yourself a couple of hours break, a couple of days break, take a wee holiday. Don't just be reactive, be active with it, and try and sit in it and understand why you're struggling and why it's hard. And there's always something you can do. Honestly, there's so many times when I've been like, nothing's working, this is rubbish, this sucks, when actually when I've took myself away and reviewed it all again, there's so much I could have done better, so much I could have done better, but I was just in victim mode. And when you're in victim mode, you think the world's against you, and you think nothing's ever going to work, everything sucks, so that's all you look at. But when you come out of that and you actually look at like what you can do, what you could do, there's always something that you could be better at. And if you want to be the best at what you do, then you need to find out what that is, and you need to do those extra hours. You need to meet those new people. You need to get out your comfort zone. You need to start and know that you're at one point, you're going to be 9 years down the line and just think, thank God I just went with it. And I didn't just like, again, not start because I didn't know where I was going to be. I didn't know what gym I was going to work in. I didn't know if I was going to even pass the course. I didn't know I would be working and still in uni. So you can't predict what's going to happen. You just have to start. And know that if you're loving what you do and you're passionate about what you do and you're going to be willing to work as hard as you freakingly can, the opportunities will 100% come. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that today. I've enjoyed it. And like, I'm always here if you ever have any kind of questions. If it is a business or if it is something else related, I love stuff like that. So I'm always here if you guys have any questions or if there's anything I can help with, or even if you're interested in the new program that might be coming very soon as well, because I'd love your feedback and your advice and your help with that as well, because I just want people to feel really good and badass like I did without having to worry about food and check-ins and all of that. Just get a really good badass gym program and train hard. I think it could be quite good. But anyway, I'll let you crack on with the rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening as always. Next week we have an amazing guest to share with you. It's all about finance. I know you guys are going to love it, so that'll be with you next week. But other than that, have an amazing week and I'll speak to you all soon.